Right. The next thing to learn is how we populate the sites and the information that I need and I store here, how we populate those, what we populate, and how we as a team can create logical masters so that that we do everything properly. So what I've got a platform here. And on that platform are many storefronts. We were working on the demo storefront. It's the one currently selected. Now, I'm a platform administrator, so that obviously I have full privileges. You won't necessarily have the full privileges to everything. So what we're doing is we're setting up, as well as we're going to have two ASK sites that are online stores to the world, Ask Print, My Ask Print, and myphotographyprint.co.uk. So we're going to have some master stores selling to the world. We're also, I'm not going to use this as the master site. We're also going to have, we're also going to set 5 master sites up. And these master sites are the sites that we want to replicate and duplicate. So they need to be set up quite soon. That's quite important. And there's going to be, at the moment, 5 types. There might be ultimately a maximum of 10 types for the different types of clients and products who are going to white label us. So, for instance, the Master Ask Print. This is going to be this is going to be our master. Every product we do is going to go on this site. Okay, so it's a good one to start with. And as you can see, I've started to populate a number of categories on here that we're going to be doing, and they will be added to. If we look in the back end of the system, if I go to Master Ask Print, now learning your way around this system, we're going to look at the categories list. I've got a phenomenal amount of categories. Some I've turned on, some I've turned off. This is going to be our Bible. Master Ask Print is the ASK Bible. I have created what I call a categories master document. And on that, Excel's document. And on that, I have set Ask Print selling site, the white label, the master ASK print site, and for consistency, I've written down on here all the categories that I know that we're going to be selling on, and there may be some things I haven't yet thought of. These are the main categories. We will subcategorize things off underneath. So on funeral stationery on Ask Print, for instance, we will subcategorize that off. You saw subcategories working in the demonstration that I did earlier for you. So we can have any level of category. We can have a category within a category within a category. We're going to use that on photo books, for instance, because it's going to be a more efficient way of selling. So I've got our main sites. Now, what I've done, so that we know the order things are showing, and we can copy and paste when we create documents. This is going to be our master. But remember what I said earlier: the category ID changes from storefront to storefront. So whichever storefront we end up creating, we will pop a version of their. That's what I did earlier. Basically, we will end up having every storefront. I will pop a directory in my storefronts folder. And if, for instance, I do a storefront for one of the sites we're going to be looking at, which is this one here, I've created I've put a version of the categories master in here. Of course, I can't open up because it's got the same name as the category I had earlier. So, and on this site that I've set up for the customer. We do need to rename, so it's the storefront of that. So actually, I'm going to save this. I'm going to resave this document, so we're nice and efficient in everything we do. We're in this one, and we're going to go Okay, and it's got on here the IDs, the actual categories IDs that we're using. So when her store shows up, themed white label store, the right product, they're the categories there that she has live at the moment. Okay, and so what we're doing, we've got some master sites that we're going to be able to replicate. So print sites, we're going to replicate on a franchise basis. So we're going to have print agents and print franchises, somebody who wants to be a franchisee in the UK, and they can set their own print store up, basically sells any print, and we print fulfill. We sell to the customers in their name, so that their name can change there. But they can customize these and put their logo in, or they can use the ASK logo and sell in the ASK name. The flexibility is there, so they can do it like printing.com and sell in their name, always the company's name, i.e. ASK's name, or they can sell in their own personal name. Like an example would be a photographer that we're working with here. So this is the print side. We also work, so I'll close it down as we know what we're doing there. We also work big in the photography industry, and we're very big in the photography industry. It's an industry that we're very good at. We've obviously got our ASK site that's going to go out and general release to the world, so anybody can buy any of our products on that. Currently populating. Got so many sites open here. Right, we've got photography print. Now, photography print hasn't got everything. So we sell to the photography industry, but the photography industry aren't interested in funeral stationery. They're interested in certain products that relate to that industry that we're very, very good at. So we will pop on there photo books, DVD books, USB cases, photo cases, and high-end photo products, rather than the Ask Print site, where we would also sell, leaflets, booklets, brochures, flyers, business cards, letterheads. Photographers don't want to be pitching those out to their customers. So we've got our base photography site, but we're also able to white label that to individual photographers. And the photography industry in the UK is very, very interested in using us for this. So we'll have lots and lots of professional photographers will be hosting their sales sites for them, where they can upload their photos for customers. Their customers can use them to buy any of the products, or use the products that they've taken for them in the photo shoots they've done for that customer. So here's an example of a white labeled one. A photographer here has got a white labeled site. Their About Us can change, so it can be personalised to them. Doesn't have to be our one. You'll notice on this one, the About Us comes out to an ASK About Us. Our logo comes in there, so they've got their own logo. They've got their own contact details. It's got their own copyright down the bottom. We set that up in the back end. It takes about 5 minutes a site to do that, and we do it here on our platform. So on the platform, I can have this person's site, which I find it. That's cool. So on this site, in the content management area, which is an ASK internal area, I can do things like add edit pages, and their contact us, for instance, isn't ASK anymore. It's their own information there. I can do things like on the content management, I can do editable content. I can, in the home banner 1, there I know we could customize these if we so wished. As it happens, we haven't done on this client, but we may well do. We could customize those if we wanted to for each individual customer. What we definitely do customize is their a slider banner, slider rotator, which is this slider or rotator. And as you can see in here, we've popped the 4 graphics into content management, and it builds accordingly. The other things we've built in the content management is the home, the header logo, for instance, is a pretty obvious one. That, as you can see there. Okay, so we can do that with individual customers. But what we can do, and obviously I'm not going to that customer here, once we've got a master website created, we can import the product range. So your data entry, once you've got these 5 master sites absolutely nailed down, and I've, for instance, got nailed down some of the products from our on our Master Ask Print site, I can then go to that, and I imported all these with photos in place from that. So I would go to import from Excel. So if we wanted to import a new list of products, we could take the selection of the master site, we could export that, we could correct the categories, correct the pricing, and then import it, and then it's all imported in place with the photos in place and descriptions in place. All you would then need to change is going to the back end and assign them in the back end under, which is one of the things I need what I need you guys to do the data entry for. That's where you'd go to new products, because I haven't assigned any of these products yet. It's one of the first tasks you're going to be doing. If I go to dynamic products, there are none. Okay, so what I would need to do for this customer is I need to, like we were saying earlier, we need to set up the canvases, stock, the general data. For each storefront we set up, we would then need to go to the products, like I was showing in the demonstration earlier, add new, assign it to the customer so that they can then use and sell that. And we're going to be adding lots and lots of these storefronts, so we're never going to run out of work for you to do, although we are trying to program a more automated system to do that. Doesn't mean we're not going to need some data entry people. It just means they're going to be, we wouldn't need about 50 of them. We'll probably need about 2 or 3 to manage it all. Because at the moment, if we take on the amount of sites it looks like we'll be taking on, I could need a huge team of data entry, which won't be efficient for ASK. So I've got to look at efficient ways of working. But I've also got to learn how long it takes you to set up sites for us, because I really have no idea. I've set a couple up myself, but I know my system way around ASK better than anybody else. I wouldn't expect you to be able to set one up as quickly as I can set one. So what I've got is I've saved a series of spreadsheets in the background that I will need to explain to you, but I do keep everything spreadsheeted up. I'm a big fan of Excel and Excel Masters. So, for instance, different photographers and different ways of selling. Some people will be VAT registered and some people won't be VAT registered. So that is obviously important in sales prices. Photographers tend to double our prices, but every storefront owner has the flexibility to set their own products within prices. Yes, they can come in and log in later. What I tend to do is send them a working spreadsheet and say, are you happy with that? So I've got a few master spreadsheets that look complicated, but are quite important. I need to tinker with before giving you the final versions. So here's a complicated one. Lots open at the moment. So, okay, right. Okay, here's my photo book pricing. Photo books are quite complex products because they work on, so they're calculating working on the back end of the system. They're also calculating on different sizes and different page counts. So when you put in the back end of the dynamic pricing, you put those price ratios on, for instance, in either stock or output, works down here. It basically calculates the price of a book. So a landscape 50-page prestige lay flat panoramic book, it should hopefully calculate it out at being £88 or close enough. The system can't exactly match to a penny, my system, but it can get quite close to it, because the program is a program of a formula slightly different to my formula, but it's close enough for everybody to ever worry about. It's pennies, not pounds. So we have, remember we had size ratios. So we're tending to, so if I've got a size ratio here of 1, it means that's what the canvas in the back end, when we were on canvas, I go to perhaps a site that has a canvas in, go back to our demo print, sort of products in that. So if I had a landscape photo book, or a square photo book, or really, not a square photo book, basically we've got the price factor in here of what it comes out to with the book. So actually in this one's a bit random because I've set different, it should be whatever I set as the master. I think I would have probably, that one should be 1, but I might have changed my price. Yeah, because it was a demo site, I've been experimenting with people and showing people different things and changing different things. So in square books, we are actually setting the smallest book to be price factor 1. So what I would do is go to, right, okay, this one, price factor 1. The next price factor is how does this 6-inch book relate in price to that 99 square inch book? And it basically, it should be 1.55978. So that's the size factor. That's the price factor. So price factor is 0.75 on this I've set. So why I've set a price factor of 1.2, I don't know, but I can do. I have that flexibility. You don't have to have 1s in here in price factors. So 1.9, 2.5, and 3. So I've got my masters here. But the size factors, so they are different to the size factors. So this book is 3.1263 as big as the 95/95 square, or the 4-inch square, because this is exact measurements. What we're describing the book as a 12-inch square book is actually a 297 millimeter book. It isn't exactly 12-inch square. That's just the name of the book. It's close enough to 12-inch square. It rounds up to 12-inch square. But in the EU, we have to give things in millimeters, exact millimeters. So we create everything actually in millimeters. Okay? So the size factor is 3.1263, but the price ratio is 3. You can see how that works here. Got a price ratio of 3, but if I edit this, the size ratio is 3.1263. So that's how this assigns here. The other thing we will work out is, the other thing that can change things is stock. Because a photo book could be on a standard hardback photo book, just like a hardback book you'd buy from the shops, which would be from our standard range, or it could be a prestige photographic paper lay flat book on a 2mm thick card. Obviously costs a lot more, because it costs us a lot more to produce. And in fact, you can see just how much here by the pricing ratios. It's basically cost 60 times for we charge 60 times the amount to do something on a prestige 2mm board as we would a standard, 120 GSM normal book paper, and as you would probably expect. And what I'm trying to store in these master spreadsheets are what we're putting in the output. So we will probably change these slightly and just save them as our output is stored here, which output we're using. So this is a book. This is a book spreadsheet. So I've got 2 or 3 types of spreadsheet, and the book spreadsheet can only be calculated this way. So what it does, we've got our default pricing formula, in a worksheet, in the first worksheet, and then other worksheets will work off that. So down here, that's relating to, so hopefully you're good enough with Excel that you understand how things relate to other worksheets. And all these formulae create book price. But actually, in the back end of the system, what's really clever, all you actually need to insert are a price per page there, because this formula calculates everything else up, a base price in the catalogue, which is £10. So that would be, so the £10 would be in the product variant. The ratio here would be in the stock. The ratio here would be in the price per page of the product. And what we have to set here is this, when we're creating these, that has to be greater than the maximum number of pages for the formula to work, equal or greater to the number of pages. So we've set here, as you can see, 0.028. Here, 0.028. And I need to get my head around how the output factors work, because these need to change from actual physical amounts to output factors, which I haven't got around to doing yet, but I will do. I think I've done there to test. The output types means you can show different covers on a system. So when we set up the output type, you'll notice at the bottom you've got a price factor. And the price factor, basically, when it sees a price factor there of more than naught, rather than it's effectively adding a different cover price to a product. So it's in effect taking the base price of £10, and at this one should be adding 40% to it. So it's adding, but I need to test all that's working properly before I give you the master spreadsheets in books. Don't worry, we've got lots of other products you can work in where it doesn't involve this, and it'll only take me another 24 hours to do all those tests anyway. So we have that here. So there's an output factor there, and what it does, it just calculates the book up accordingly. Once we've got our stock, our output, and our product price per page, and then our canvas price per page, because this is the price ratio for the canvas. So if you move from a smaller book to a larger book, it just takes all the prices and times them by 1.5 on this book. On this book, it takes all the prices and times them by 2. On this book, it takes all the prices and times them by 3 to calculate the book price. So if they end up buying a 50-page book, it costs them £201.20 on a lay flat photographic paper. But if it was a perfect bound book, it would only cost them £35.40, and that's in a big size. That's nearly A3 size. That's in a lay flat. That's in a 375 millimeters times 265 millimeters. We had thought about, and I had planned a system that we would set normal books and lay flat books in the same product, but I'm probably going to move away from that. It's too complicated for the customer to understand the differences. So we're probably going to stick with 3 different ranges. So in here, one of the tasks you're going to have is on products. At the moment, we've got a landscape photo book. We will probably subcategorize the photo books into standard, quality, and prestige photo books, and then within that just have the choices for that range. And that's why it's important to learn how to use the extra the banners within that. We may well do that in canvas prints as well, which is why we want to learn how to. That's why we need to start using banners in here, which I'm going to get the graphic designer to do, so that we can banner that up, showing the differences to say if you want a quality book, you go here, want a different book, you go there. So that's one thing I'm going to do. Once we create that system, it'll be needed populated manually across all storefronts, which doesn't take too long to do. It probably takes 10 minutes a storefront. At the moment, we're going to have about 25 storefronts, so we want to nail this down storefronts we're setting up until the end of December 2018. These are master storefronts, and this is beta testing. January, when we're starting to add lots more, we want our system absolutely in place so that when we replicate sites, we don't need to go in and repeat all this work. Because one of my pet hates in business, and been running this for 25 years, is people having to repeat work they've done previously. I like them to do it once. That's a great fan of mine. So you're not wasting your time. Nothing worse than doing something and then having to change something on one site, and because I got it wrong on one site, then repeat the same task on another 50 sites. That's a waste of your time and effort, and I'm sure you'd be doing much while through things. It's not that you run out of words, and I wouldn't do it along those lines. So that gives you a feel of the most complicated spreadsheet, which is photo books, but we also have other products that we work on. I've got a list here of products that we've been adding that are phase 1 products for each site. So this is really the product name in the catalogue. So for instance, when we go to, we actually go to this store here earlier. Hopefully you'll see on here, these are the products that we're launching with on phase 1. So you get some acrylic blocks, and you'll see here they're static products at the moment. They haven't been assigned to the back end, so effectively they can be purchased. They can't be purchased because obviously there's nothing to purchase, but that shows you how the site works differently from a static product, as if you're buying a light bulb at the front end, to a product where you go in and you're using the ASK designer to create something and personalize it. So that's where it differentiates between it being a normal e-commerce store to it going in and being an interactive. So you can see here I've set up in acrylic blocks 4 products, 1, 2, 3, and in here. So I've imported this lot of products, not from this spreadsheet, but this spreadsheet has effectively a replica. As you'll see, quite a few of the columns are hidden. This is in effect a replica of the storefront, the master storefront that we would have exported from XML to Excel earlier. So if you remember, before we exported, when we were mucking around earlier, a spreadsheet from one of the stores, which we were going to change and import after changing the categories and perhaps the pricing. Actually, that's in effect what I have done here. This is a basis of that, which I've then copied down and sent to each storefront owner to say, actually, this is the price we're going to be selling at. I've added a few columns to it saying, so this is the profit you'll make on each job. This is whether the job's got VAT or not. This is what we're charging you for the fulfillment. So I've got spreadsheets like that. I have also got spreadsheet similar to this. So in all products apart from, I'll obviously send you master sleeves and products. In all products apart from photo books, where photo books are multiple, I've created a spreadsheet similar to this. So this shows you acrylic blocks. Acrylic blocks come in a huge variety of shapes and sizes, but we only need to set them once in the product for each aspect, for each square, landscape and portrait. And what I have done is calculated here what they're going to say for the canvas names. So you will see here, we've got the product's name. We've also got the size name. So when you create a canvas up, once you've got a canvas up, within that canvas you can have different sizes. I've defined what the size names should say, so that you can't get that wrong. I've also defined what the canvas name should say, though some of them are a bit long, so we may need to think about those. So when you're setting a canvas up, you go to all these products along here, they need canvases. So you'd go to this spreadsheet, set a canvas up in every storefront. You'd need to set a canvas up for this, pull that, and within that, you've got these two sizes. Got a canvas name here, that's only got one size. It's its own canvas name, so it's just got that size. Got another canvas name here, another canvas we'd set up here, and it's got those three aspect ratios within it. And what I've got within this, when you're creating the canvases, you don't need to do any calculations. It's all here. Here's the size ratio, that canvas size, and here's the price ratio, that canvas size. So I've marked in green really what my bulk default products are, and as you can see how I've done it, I've said I want my selling price to be this. This is calculated what that price ratio should be. So when I'm looking in my back end, if we look at the demo.config again, I go to canvas and box, start 2x3 aspect ratio acrylic block. Okay, I've got a 2x3 aspect ratio acrylic block. That's my size name. See, I've created it here. That's my canvas name. I've created it here. It has those sizes. And actually, I've changed it since. It may be that I now wanted to say this. I might have just done this for a test. So this is your Bible. Work from this. If I decide to change this, change it in here. At the moment, it's saying vision blocks. So it may be I decide that sounds better. And if it does, I will update my master here to say this accordingly. So that's the size. Okay, you can see in here you've got your really need to know this. So, okay. Also got in here you've got price factor. So you can see the price factor 1 for that size, and the price factor is 1.6002 for this size. So there you go. Set my size factor in my master spreadsheet. Simple. Decided the order they want to show. Smallest first. So they're all the same aspect ratio, 4 times 6 inch or 6 times 9 inch. One larger one. That will calculate 1 times the base price. Covered up earlier. That will calculate 1.6002 times the base price to give me the price I want to sell to the customer at. Okay, so the bigger the product, obviously the more costs. Okay, but it is all set in here. The canvases are the most complex thing and the time-consuming things we set up per storefront. There are lots and lots and lots of them to set up, as well as the photo book ones. But the ones you start with are all in here. You get a master, edit product, catalog master, and it's all in here in terms of the pricing you need to set up for these. There's acrylic blocks and panels. There's canvas prints. There's mounted photo prints. So all the categories we've got live at the moment. And what I've tried to do is phase 1, which is our sort of December launch, I've highlighted in yellow. These ones I want added for later in the year. Whether now I've got 2 of you doing this, you just bite the bullet. If you're creating things, you set everything up. On the other hand, it's probably the easiest way to go. So the photo panel, then there's the individual photo, multiple photo, put live, photo prints with strut mount, posters, roller banners. Right. When I've got an item with orange related to it, that is the tiered pricing. So only products that have where we become cheaper on multiple uses, you need to go back to the catalogue and put into the product the bulk pricing. So refreshing how we did that. Or yeah, we actually expand it and open up the variant way. Recapping, forgotten how to do that. Tiered pricing is there. We decided to put, if they were buying 10, do that. But if it was this case, like this job here, say, right, if they're buying 5, it will be 69.99. We would just go, edit that, 5, 8. That one, 10, 59.99. Update, and we've got next one there, 50. Somebody comes to that product later, or when you test that product later, you'll see that's there and in there. So only products where we come there, and not many of our products have bulk pricing that way, not at the moment, although when we add lots more of our print related products, our more traditional print products like booklets and books and presentations and things like that, yes, ones are going to be much more expensive than multiples, and we will set those up. So at the moment, that sort of pricing applies to calendars, Christmas cards, and cards. This cards, I'm probably going to need to explain to you how I've worked that. This spreadsheet could become confusing. I tell you what, I suggest you look at it, see how I've done it, and see if you can understand it. Because I have put card pricing into 2 or 3 of the franchisee sites last night, I believe I did this. So if you view site, dev.askbook.co.uk, and go to Christmas cards, see some pricing in here. Don't worry about the one-off price yet, because I haven't set the back-end designer stuff yet. And what I have done that you'll be able to see here is landscape card. So I'm going to go manage products. I want to find a Christmas card quickly, so I'm going to go dev front. Go right. I want to find Christmas cards quickly. Yes, I can see it there, but if you had lots of categories there, remember we can also go Christmas cards search, find 5 Christmas products, see how I've put this here, so I can expand it down, which shows the product variant below the products. Just open up the product variant, and it shows it at £4.79. Which actually, I'm not working with the right spreadsheet here, so it's not helping very much at all. I've got an updated spreadsheet with these correct pricing needs, so it's not going to help. But when you see the correct spreadsheet, you will see one that says £4.79 here. You will also see one that says in tiered pricing that is the tiered pricing calculation coming down here. So difficult thing is to work out, because obviously portrait and landscape cards cost the same amount as they're the same size. So effectively, I'm working everything off a smallest size, which is the A6 size. So I've put the prices up a little bit. These don't include VAT. So I've got a master here, doesn't include VAT prices, and it's quite important for you guys. So I've got to update my master. I've got a master on my laptop at home. So actually, that I you see, it becomes £4.79. So it is actually here. This spreadsheet was exclusive of VAT price, and I've just got to sort that out throughout the spreadsheet. So you same. Okay, so you will see hopefully in here that's how I've set this one up. 500 copies is costing 59p, 100 is good 90, etc., etc., etc. That's how I've set Christmas cards up on the product. I've taken the cheapest price of that product, which is here, because obviously it grows to A5. That's calculated in the canvas in the back end, and the canvas ratio, price ratio, we decided is going to be 1.5. So it's that there. Okay, and then these in orange are the actual tiered pricing numbers. I know it's in the same column as this. It's probably not the most logical setup in the world. I do apologise for that. But actually, once you suss out how it works, it will make sense to you. So what I'm highlighting in yellow here are the price ratios. Price ratio within the canvas in the dynamic printing makes that price jump to that price. Okay, it's effectively that times 1.5. So I5 times 1. So comes 18 if they go for the bigger version. But if they go for 500, they come down to 88p each. Okay, so tiered pricing work on that. So all the other products again just need populating. It is simple as data population on various products. As we add products to our system, my product development team will add a product. I will create either a new spreadsheet for it or a new worksheet for it in this master spreadsheet. We've got to work out which is efficient. It may be that we have a spreadsheet per category. Might be a sensible way of working. I'll take your feedback on that and see what you think. But actually, I think for every category we create, otherwise this spreadsheet's going to be too long and cumbersome. So I suggest what we end up having is for every category we end up having in here, we have a separate master pricing spreadsheet for that, for the products within that. Would work well. Okay, that's really an overview of everything that we need, lots of things we need to do, and how the system works. By the time you've listened to all these, it's probably a day to actually decipher, even understand that. So the next stage will be starting to starting to practice some work. I'll probably give everybody a storefront to do each, and go from there. If you've got any questions, Skype me, email me, and we can work, and I'll try and answer them. Thank you very much for your time and listening.